If you like the content we are bringing, we will be very happy if you will subscribe to our channel. That can help us grow and bring you better and more engaging content.
Yeah, it really makes a massive difference for us.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is Sunday, March 1st, 2026. And if you're just looking at a standard calendar, you might just see the start of a new month. But if you look at the leaderboard of professional golf right now, we are standing at a pretty massive intersection.
We really are. I mean, this week acts as a pivot point for the entire season. We've just wrapped up these intense early season swings through Asia and Africa,
Right.
which, can sometimes feel a bit abstract to an American audience. But now the spotlight slams back onto U.S. soil. The Florida residency is kicking off.
Yeah, it feels like the season has officially started for the casual fan.
Exactly. But for the global game, I mean, we are already deep in the weeds.
And that distinction is really important because the theme that keeps emerging from all of our sources this week is this idea of integrated competition. For decades, golf was this very clean duopoly, right? You had Europe and you had America.
And that was pretty much it.
Yeah, but now
Yeah.
we've got a winner in Singapore, we have a complete meltdown in Florida, and boardroom decisions that are fundamentally rewriting how a professional golfer's worth is even calculated.
It's a really complex ecosystem now. You can't just watch one tour and claim to understand the global hierarchy anymore. The boundaries are just so porous.
Absolutely. So let's start with the event that had everyone glued to their screens this afternoon. The Cognizant Classic down at PGA National, the champion course. We went in expecting a shootout, and instead we got a survival test.
Total survival test.
And standing at the end of it, Nico Echevarria.
Yeah, a career-defining week for the Colombian. I mean, this is his third PGA Tour title, but let's be totally clear here. Winning in the U.S. on this specific course, it just hits different than his previous international victories.
For sure.
He banks $1.728 million. But honestly, the paycheck is almost the least impressive part of his week when you look at how he played.
I was looking at the strokes gained data earlier today, and the thing that makes absolutely no sense to me is the scorecard itself. Bogey-free on the weekend
It's absurd.
at PGA National. That sounds like a statistical anomaly.
It sounds like a typo, doesn't it? For context for you listening, the champion course is famous for the bear trap. That's holes 15, 16, and 17. These aren't just hard holes. They're literally designed to induce panic.
Yeah, you have water absolutely everywhere.
Water everywhere. The wind is usually swirling right off the Atlantic, and disaster is just one bad swing away. So for Echevarria to go 36 holes on Saturday and Sunday without dropping a single shot, that is a masterclass in ball striking.
So he wasn't just, scrambling for pars out of the rough.
No, that's the crazy thing. He was hitting greens in regulation. That final round 66 wasn't luck, it was surgical. He systematically dismantled a course that usually dismantles the players.
He needed every single bit of that 66, though. Because as good as Echevarria was today, the narrative coming down the stretch was really about who was losing the tournament.
Yeah.
We have to talk about Shane Lowry.
Oof. This is the brutal side of professional golf. Lowry was cruising. He's 19 under par. He has a 3-shot lead, and there are only 3 holes left to play.
You're already engraving his name on the trophy at that point.
Exactly. He's a major champion. He knows how to close out a Sunday.
And then he stepped onto the 16th tee.
The 16th is this mid-length par 4, but the approach is absolutely terrifying over the water. But the thing is, Lowry didn't even get to the approach shot. He flared his tee shot wide right.
And at PGA National, wide right means you're wet.
It means wet. So he takes his draw, and he makes a double bogey.
Okay, but he still has a 1-shot lead going into the 17th,
Right.
which is a par 3.
Right, a par 3 over water. And what does he do? He does the exact same thing. Another flared shot, another splash.
Back-to-back water balls with the tournament literally on the line.
He went from 3 ahead to 1 behind in the span of maybe 20 minutes. It was a complete systematic failure of the golf swing under pressure.
I saw his presser afterward. He just looked completely shell-shocked. He said, and this is a direct quote, "I had the tournament in my hands and I threw it away." That is just raw.
That's the kind of loss that leaves a real scar. The Florida swing is notorious for this kind of thing. It's not just a physical test of hitting a little white ball over a pond. It's psychological warfare.
Yeah, because we are heading right into major season. The Masters is right around the corner.
And this swing exposes exactly who has the mental armor for Augusta. Lowry has to go home tonight and figure out how to reset because that memory on 16 and 17 is going to linger.
Now, while Lowry was sliding down the leaderboard, we saw a name climbing up that we haven't seen in a PGA Tour top 10 in a really long time. Brooks Koepka.
Yeah, that was
He
wild.
finishes T9, closing with a 65.
This is such a fascinating data point for us to look at. Coupe has obviously been the face of Livy Golf, playing that schedule entirely. But here he is teeing it up at the Cognizant, likely, using a sponsor exemption or his past champion status, and he looked incredibly dangerous.
Right. This is his first top 10 on the PGA Tour outside of a major championship since early 2022.
Which is a long drought for a guy of his caliber.
The notes in our source material mention his putting specifically. Koepka has always been an elite ball striker, but the flat stick has been pretty cold lately. What changed this week?
He's finding the line again. The strokes gained putting numbers were solidly positive all week long. And we know the narrative with Brooks, right? He doesn't really care about regular tour events. He peaks for the majors.
He says it all the time.
But seeing him contend on a course that demands absolute precision tells me his game is razor sharp right now. If he's putting like this in early March, he's going to be a massive problem for everyone at Augusta in April.
It's interesting you mentioned precision and endurance, because that was the exact theme halfway across the world, too. While Florida was total chaos, the LPGA was putting on an absolute clinic in Singapore at the HSBC Women's World Championship.
At Sentosa Golf Club, the new Tanjong course. It's always immaculate condition, but man, it is hot out there. And we saw Hannah Green claim her second title at that specific event.
7th of her career overall. She finished 14 under, holding off Austin Kim by a single stroke. But looking at the shot-by-shot data, this was not a victory lap. She was seriously battling.
It was gritty. Her back nine was a total roller coaster. 3 birdies, 3 bogeys. She just couldn't find a consistent rhythm. But you have to factor in the conditions they were dealing with.
Right, they just played in Thailand the week before.
Exactly. The Asian swing for the LPGA is a brutal stretch of travel, insane humidity, and heat.
We really saw that fatigue hit some of the other top players, didn't we? Gino Thittikel won the event in Thailand last week, but was practically a non-factor here. She finished T31.
That's that fatigue factor we always talk about. Maintaining peak mental focus when it feels like 100 degrees out with 90% humidity is incredibly hard to do for 4 straight days. Green's win wasn't just about her swing holding up. It was about her fitness and her stamina. She just outlasted the field.
Let's hop continents one more time. This time down to the DP World Tour in South Africa.
Yeah.
Because we have a player who apparently doesn't know what the word fatigue even means. Casey Jarvis wins the Investor South African Open.
Back-to-back wins for him. He took the Kenya Open last week, hops on a plane, and then wins in Stellenbosch. But the context here is huge. This isn't just adding another trophy to the mantle.
It's the perks that come with this specific trophy.
Exactly. By winning this event, Jarvis punches his ticket to the Masters and the Open Championship at Royal Birkdale.
Wow.
That is life-changing for a player. He goes from being a solid touring pro to playing on the absolute biggest stages in the sport.
And speaking of grinding for spots, we definitely have to talk about Patrick Reed. He's been playing with the DP World Tour calls the International Swing.
Reed is on an absolute mission right now. Since leaving the Levy structure to play a more broad schedule, he has committed to a full DP World Tour slate. I mean, he played 6 of the 7 events in this swing.
That is an insane travel schedule for anyone.
It really is. But it paid off. He won the overall swing title and officially cracked back into the top 20 in the official World Golf Ranking.
He's really proving a point, isn't he?
Ah.
He's showing that if you are willing to just travel and grind it out, the pathways back to the top of the rankings actually are there.
He's not waiting around for handouts. He's out there earning the OWGR points the hard way.
Which brings us perfectly to the elephant in the room, or maybe the elephant in the boardroom. The OWGR made a decision this week that people have been fiercely arguing about for 3 solid years. They have officially awarded ranking points to Livy Golf for the 2026 season.
This is a massive watershed moment for the sport. For years, the core argument was that Livy's format, the 54 holes, no-cut shotgun start, it just didn't meet the established criteria. Now, the OWGR has finally blinked.
But, and this is a huge, but from what I read in the sources, they've categorized them as small field tournaments.
Yes, and the constraints are wild.
I looked at the fine print on this rule change, and it's honestly pretty weird. The points distribution isn't normal at all.
It's completely unprecedented. Because Levy fields usually only have around 57 players, the OWGR has applied a really strict filter. Points are only awarded to the top 10 finishers and ties.
Wait, walk me through that. In a normal PGA Tour event, or even a smaller DP World Tour event, if you make the cut and finish, say, 50th, you still get some tiny fraction of a point, right?
Correct. Even finishing 50th gets you something. It acknowledges that you beat at least half the field. In this new Levy setup, if you finish 11th in a field of the best players in the world, you get 0.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. You are treated the exact same in the rankings as the guy who finished dead last. Levy is calling it unprecedented, and they aren't wrong.
That completely changes the psychology of a Sunday round out there. If you're sitting in 8th place, you can't just play conservative golf to protect a paycheck anymore. You have to gamble to stay inside those points.
It creates a massive cliff edge. It's great for the superstars, the Rams, the DeChambeau, because if they play well, they get points and stay eligible for the majors. But for the mid-tier guy on that tour, it's absolutely brutal.
Because you could play well and get nothing.
Right, you could finish 12th every single week, which is really, really good professional golf, and your world ranking would still plummet to 0.
So the door is technically open, but it's really only open for the elite.
Precisely. It integrates the tours on paper, but it creates a very steep, unforgiving hierarchy within elite itself. It essentially says, we will recognize your absolute best players, but we really don't care about your depth.
It does seem like the whole global system is trying to build ladders right now, though. We saw the Asian Tour announcing 9 international series events for 2026 in places like Japan, China, and Morocco. And these act as direct feeders to Levy.
And then you look at the Sunshine Tour down in Africa. They have this Career Guy Order of Merit, which now gives a direct card to the DP World Tour.
So the pathways are there.
Yeah, if you are a young player, say you're 22 years old, turning pro. The map is messy, sure, but it's legible. You can start in South Africa, play your way to Europe, and then choose to go to America or take the Live-E route. The ecosystem is actually becoming highly functional.
Let's shift gears away from the politics and the pathways for a minute and talk about the actual tools these guys are using to get there. The PGA show just wrapped up, and looking at the equipment reports in our stack, there is one acronym dominating absolutely everything: AI.
Artificial intelligence. It's not just a marketing buzzword anymore. It's the foundational design principle for modern clubs.
But we've heard computer design for 20 years now. What is actually fundamentally different about, say, Strixon's new IFLEX face or Callaway's quantum phase zones?
Okay, so in the past, human engineers would design a club face shape that worked best for a standard, perfectly centered hit. Now, they are running thousands and thousands of simulations using what they call topology optimization to create face thicknesses that are almost organic looking.
So the face isn't symmetrical anymore.
Not at all. The AI figures out where players actually miss the center of the face, not just where they should theoretically hit it.
Oh, I see.
So these new faces adjust the COR, which is basically the spring-like effect or bounce of the face, in very specific, weirdly shaped zones. The goal is to keep ball speed up even on bad mishits. It's hyper-customization based on massive player data sets.
So if you aren't playing equipment fitted with this specific data in 2026, you're statistically just giving up yardage to the field.
You absolutely are. And at the elite level we're talking about, giving up 2 yards of dispersion or 1 mile per hour of ball speed is literally the difference between making a cut and missing it. It's the difference between keeping your tour card and going to Q school.
And where are people buying all this new high-tech gear? The economic data in our stack is pointing heavily in one specific direction: the East.
The Asia-Pacific golf tourism numbers are just staggering right now. We are looking at a projection of nearly $13 billion by 2033.
$13 billion. That's a massive industry.
It's a total boom. Countries like Thailand and Vietnam aren't just building a few courses to attract tourists. They are building massive luxury golf ecosystems, and it tracks perfectly with what we are seeing on the professional tours.
Yeah, the money follows the interest.
The money, the interest, the player base, it's all shifting toward Asia. Golf is becoming less Eurocentric by the day.
And that economic shift really validates the player momentum we're seeing, too.
Yeah.
You have this rising star, Elvis Smiley.
Elvis Smiley is definitely the name you need to know right now. He's a Levy golf rookie, a really talented young Australian. He went to Riyadh earlier this season, and he didn't just compete. He won the whole thing.
And he held off John Rahm to do it, right?
I did it.
Holding off Rahm on a Sunday is a big boy qualification in my book.
It legitimizes him instantly. And because of those new limited OWGR points we just discussed, plus the victory, he's suddenly right on the radar for the majors. He represents this completely new generation of golfer that sees the International Series and Livy Golf as a legitimate launch pad for a career rather than just a retirement home for older guys.
And then on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, We have veterans like Patrick Reed, who seems to be playing 40 weeks a year across the globe.
It's old school grinding. We
Yeah.
honestly haven't seen a top-tier player travel this much since the Gary Player days. But you can't argue with the results. It works. He's back in the major conversation, not because of boardroom politics, but because he's actually posting the scores in Dubai, in South Africa, in Hong Kong.
Well, before we wrap up today's deep dive, let's take a quick look at next week's schedule. We are staying in Florida for the PGA Tour. It's the Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill.
Arnie's place. It's a signature event, so the purse is massive again, $4 million to the winner. But the course itself, Bay Hill is a brute.
Thick, rough, incredibly fast greens.
And so much water. It's a perfect, punishing follow-up to the bear trap. You've got Scottie Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, and the defending champ Russell Henley all teeing it up. It's going to be a heavyweight fight. The rough there is usually grown out specifically to penalize anything offline.
And Livy Golf is on the move again too, right?
Yep, they are heading to Hong Kong, March 5th through 8th. Continuing that massive Asian presence we were just talking about, Hong Kong Golf Club is a really classic, tight layout.
So not a bomber's course.
Not at all. It's not a bomber's paradise, which might actually equalize the field against the longer hitters like Bryson DeChambeau.
What about the DP World Tour? Where are they heading?
They are finishing up their African swing at the Joburg Open. That's at Heightened Golf Club. And the key thing for you to watch there, if you tune in, is the altitude.
Right, because the ball just flies forever up there.
It goes miles. You have to adjust your yardages by 10 to 15% on every single shot. It really messes with the player's head. You'll see players hitting an 8-iron 200 yards.
That's crazy.
It takes a very specific kind of confidence to trust those numbers when you're looking at the flag. And guess who is in the field again?
Oh, let me guess. Patrick Reed.
Patrick Reed. The man just wants to play golf.
Amazing. And finally, the LPGA is in China next week.
Yes. Hainan Island for the Blue Bay LPGA. Rie Takeda is the defending champion there. So it's a truly global week across the board.
So when we pull all of these threads together, you've got Nico Echevarria surviving the bear trap, the OWGR finally integrating Live golf points, Reed traversing the entire globe to get his ranking back, and the massive rise of Asian golf economics.
Yeah.
It really feels like that old Civil War narrative in golf is officially dead.
Yeah, I'd agree. It feels way less like a war and much more like a chaotic marketplace right now. The boundaries are porous, players are hopping between tours, the ranking systems are desperately trying to catch up to reality, and the pathways are finally open if you're actually good enough to play.
It's messy, but it's functional.
Exactly. We are finally seeing what a true World Tour ecosystem actually looks like in practice. It's not just one governing body dictating everything. It's a global network of tours constantly feeding into each other.
So here's the provocative thought I want to leave you with today. If the ranking points are finally flowing and the development pathways are wide open, does loyalty to a specific tour even matter anymore? Or are we entering a brand new era where the only thing that actually matters is the number you write down on your scorecard?
That is the multi-billion-dollar question. And looking at the trends, I think the players are already voting with their feet.
It's going to be fascinating to watch unfold. Thanks for diving in with us today.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Catch you on the next deep dive.